last night I ran a Twitter poll, which is certainly not scientific, right? You have no idea who's answering the poll. You may have self-selected just a whole bunch of people that already think like you. But I was really interested.
I don't remember getting that one. Did you send that one to me?
No, I just posted it, but I will send it to you. And the question was, how much testing would you have to have of a vaccine before you think it should become mandatory for participation in society, right? If you found out smallpox was back, we'd be back doing vaccines. So I put up there, is it 1 month, 6 months, 1 year or more, or never? And I was shocked because 46%, the last time I checked, 46% of the people said less than 6 months it would be okay to have a mandatory vaccine. And then you have the other 53% or whatever it is saying 1+ year or more. That is a political divide that is going to have to be bridged somehow, because you can't have 50% thinking one way and 50% thinking the other. How would you approach this issue, knowing that we don't actually know how long it'll take to come up with a vaccine?
Well, as you know, there's an incredible amount of science going on. I was just, over the last couple of weeks, I've been studying, the coronavirus outbreak and a lot of the science. And, one of the things that, as I think about reasons to be optimistic about this for the future, first of all, I mean, we've seen an incredible unifying set of responses from our caregivers and our healthcare community that's been remarkable. It's been, for me, it's been exciting to see how many companies, small, large, public, private companies, really dedicate efforts to create, PPEs and supplies and other materials that are needed to help combat the coronavirus. And of course, I have really been amazed at the public response. I'm so proud of how people have really handled, for many, this is probably, the greatest, healthcare threat or challenge they've seen in their life. So that's so, it gives me confidence for the future. But, as a scientist, I am blown away by the scientific community's response to really, addressing the coronavirus problem. I mean, for perspective, when the AIDS virus broke out several years ago, the technology was different. It really took years to get the sequence of the viral genome. In the case of the coronavirus, literally within weeks, when the outbreak occurred in China and the virus was first isolated, the scientists had already created the full-length sequence of the virus and shared that information broadly across the world, and that immediately enabled scientists to use DNA and nucleic acid detection technologies to come up with rapid tests. And just last week, Abbott announced that they have now a 5-minute test that can be conducted literally in the doctor's office. So that's exciting. But now, knowing the structure of the virus, people have been able to identify possible treatments. We know that the virus has been modified to bind to a particular receptor on the human cell. That's the ACE2 receptor. Knowing that, there's ways of designing interventions. Having that sequence of the virus S protein enables a variety of approaches to create vaccines. The last time I looked, there were over 40 different groups around the world taking different approaches to vaccines, which range from the very traditional approaches that have been used since the time of Louis Pasteur to now really more modern techniques using just a snippet of the viral genome and being able to create very potent antibody reactions and antigens that can be used for vaccines. So the scientific community has really responded. I expect to see a pretty rapid response in terms of being able to create vaccines that will be, thoroughly tested, very effective, and very safe. But I still think it gets down to the point that your survey emphasizes, and that is the science is one thing, but we will need an incredible communication effort. As you know, there's still a division in this country regarding the role of science and vaccines and everything from measles and mumps to other vaccines that some individuals are electing not to use for themselves or for their children. And I think, so much of that has been based on misinformation through social media and on the internet, that the only way to really address that is to make sure that the scientific efforts to create those vaccines are also accompanied by, a very transparent communication effort to ensure that people not only understand the benefits of that technology for themselves and for their family, but the importance of creating an immunity across the population so that we don't see subsequent, cycles of outbreak, as the economy opens up and people start to move again, and as we ultimately, enter another flu season.